Hello everybody, my name is Bill. Welcome back to the NCAA Football 2007 Dynasty Mode explanation. We are now evaluating the independents, which as you can see are only 4 teams. Although I've thought of a lot of things I can ramble about for each team, including the team you see on the screen here, the team I control, the team I user, the McNary Central Bobcats. We went 13-0, obviously, and I'd say our best win had to come in the national championship against West Virginia. All the other teams that beat, they became unranked afterwards, especially South Carolina, which I will eventually get to in the SEC East evaluation, because that's the division that South Carolina's in. And I will definitely talk about South Carolina a lot more in detail when I get to them. And the grades is I control them, so everything we had over 1,000 yards of total offense, 600 passing, 600 rushing. So yeah, over 12,000. I mean, actually, it was over 13,000. Not 13,000, 1,300. 100 we had it. As you can see, our points forced is 3,113. So yeah, and I say our improvements is something that come with recruiting is mainly safety and receiver depth. Coming off of our third straight championship, we do have some holes to fill. Darius Smith has been proving to be a replacement for the 2007 Heisman winner Dylan Miller, which Darius going in total for this season 48 for 83 for 1,039 yards with 15 touchdowns, even though Dylan Miller went in what's to be assumed to be its last season. He's in finishing with being 342 for 386 for 6,719 yards and 96 touchdowns. We do need receiver depth on offense, though, as Peyton McMahon finished his second Heisman season with 2,824 yards and 47 touchdowns on 137 catches. Plus, we only have 5 receivers on the roster right now, so we definitely need receiver depth. And we have to hope that Rodney Jordan, a redshirt junior, stays. This was his best season yet, having 35 catches for 811 yards and 13 touchdowns. Oh, and there's also one more receiver I need to touch on that I forgot to mention in this, but I will go ahead and mention him now. His name is... I know his last name is Guerrero. Yeah, Reggie Guerrero, also a redshirt junior. His stats aren't the best, so maybe he'll stay at 28 receptions for 523 yards and 5 touchdowns. Hopefully he'll stay. He was number 2 option, but I hardly threw to his side of the field a lot for him, which was mainly my bad. But when he's number 1 option, maybe he'll get some more catches. That might be his logical thinking there, but hey, I don't know what the CPU players think. The other, for defense, we definitely need safety depth, especially with strong safety. The other 2 safeties are seniors who didn't really get any playing time at all because we hardly ran formations that involved them. And also the big star, Lincoln Mitchell, we have to hope he stays too. His 20 interceptions is what helped us a lot, alongside ball hawk Malcolm Maxey, who had 21. Now Malcolm is a redshirt senior, so he's gone no matter what. Travis Houston is the only guy had to fix something in the script real quick. Sorry. Travis Houston is the only other guy I kind of worry about because his 177 tackles will be needed to keep our D-line strong, especially with two strong ends. Now, these two strong ends, though, are sophomore freshmen. Sophomore freshmen. Tristan Cox and Chris Pleasant, who had 77 and 64 sacks, respectively. So, as I control him, we will easily be back in the national championship next year. So, enough of me. Let's go on to the Navy. Ranked 23 in the country at season's end, their record is 11-2, with their best win being in Week 6 against the Air Force, 42-0, and their worst loss came in Week 9 against number 19 Notre Dame, 49-10. And their rushing game is top notch. They've got top 15 defense, and they are highly efficient on third downs. Their improvements, though, is their passing game and turnovers. My thoughts here is the midshipmen did a lot better than some people would have expected. Overall wise, their C pluses all across the board, and would normally lead to like a 6-6 record at least. Maybe 5-7, 7-5, somewhere around there. Somewhere where it's like somewhere mediocre, but it's like you'd expect that from a C plus team. But they turned it into an 11-2 season, while sadly with a loss in the Emerald Bowl against Boise State. The final score of that was 24-21. Yeah, 24-21 in the Emerald Bowl against Boise State. Not the best way to end your season, but very impressive though for an 11-2 squad. Oh, for a C plus squad. They have been the best rushing attack out of any non-controlled team in the game. They need to improve the passing a lot. 136 yards per game isn't something a top team should be producing, although they do run the triple option a lot. With that success in running the triple option, they averaged 278.2 yards per game, more than doubling their passing yards. 33.9 points per game is impressive with their strategy, though, as they could just run the game out when they have a lead. They also need to force more turnovers, as they only had a turnover margin of +2, which doesn't seem like a top 25 team should have. If they can at least do that, force more turnovers, they should remain in the top 25 next year. Now we go from the Navy to the Notre Dame, Fighting Irish, that is. They're number 19 in the country at season's end, with their record also being 11-2, the third team out of 4 to finish with 10 plus wins, and you can tell that we have a little black sheep of the family here. Notre Dame's best win came again week 9 at Navy, 49-10. Their worst loss, they lost to both Michigan and Michigan State, but since Michigan State finished the year unranked, I put that loss ahead of this one. Actually, I think this was one of my early key game predictions too. Now I remember. They lost at Michigan State 31-13. I think I said Notre Dame was going to win that game. But as you can see, that proved me wrong. Hey, I got 4 Super Bowls in a row wrong at one point. So, yeah, 4 Super Bowls in a row I got wrong until 54. But hey, they are great still. They got great defense. They're efficient, they force turnovers, and they score a bunch of points as well. The only thing they need to improve on is passing a bit, Not about much, just something where it's more like looking like a top 25 team than, just making it look like, hey, we're just in the top 25 because of name only. We're playing well, but we're probably in there just because of name only. The Fighting Irish definitely took a big swing upward this season. After going 4-7 last year, they went 11-2 and won the Sun Bowl over Troy. They look to keep this momentum, but I see one thing they need to work on. They need to do a bit better in the passing game. 233.2 yards per game is decent, like I said, but they just need to bring that up a little bit, like maybe 250, 275 yards, Not asking for a big improvement. I'm not saying, oh, go 400 yards a game, I'm not asking that. Just like 275, 250 yards. Think y'all could do that next year, you know? But when you can have anyone on your schedule, that's one reason why I picked this conference and decided to replace Temple, all around with those owls who really gives a hoot, you know? So that's one reason why I put my team here is because I could choose anyone to face. I could choose to face all top 25 teams if I can fit them on the schedule. I can choose to play anybody. And that's the same thing with Notre Dame. Although I think if you choose Notre Dame, you got a few games that are locked. I'm not 100% sure. I do know with Army and Navy, they're locked against each other. Same with them against Air Force, which I'll explain a bit when I talk about Army. But yeah, when you can have anyone on your schedule, they need to step that up a little bit so they can easily continue to be seen as a threat. 36 points per game is a way to make sure that they remain a threat to win, though. 31 takeaways for a defense that only allowed 14.2 points per game is pretty good. And that should definitely be a key for their success in the future because, defense wins championships. All granted, with my defense, you ain't gonna be able to surpass that anytime soon. And now we get to our little black sheep of this family, Army. The Black Knight. Oh, that's part of my thoughts right there. But their record, as you can see, was 2-9. Their best win came in Week 11 against the Air Force, 23-21, and their worst loss came Week 14 against number 23 Navy, 31-12. They are great at red zone scoring and they are gutsy on fourth down, but that's about it. Their improvements, though, is mainly on both offense and defense. My thoughts here: the Black Knights are the black sheep of the family, or the black sheep of the group, only having 2 wins. Wins when everybody else had 11. Oh, geez, guys, could you at least share some wins with Army? Including one against an FCS team in New Hampshire. That one they barely escaped with a 24-17 win. They need to greatly improve for next season. Only reason I didn't fully put them in the bottom 10 a lot was because they were several games off everyone else. That didn't see it fair. Because why would I put a 2-6 team in when there were 2-8 teams? Why would I put in a 2-5 team when there were 1-8 teams? Like you see the logic here. They didn't have as many games as everybody else, so I chose not to put them in that often, like I would. Like I did with Washington State, like I did with Washington, Middle Tennessee State, Kansas, oh, San Jose State, Idaho. The schools that were always constantly being mentioned at the bottom 10 because they had played a good number of games, like 10 or 11, like if we were at week 13, like 10, 11, they have finished their entire season by week 12, then hey, that's your fault for scheduling, but you do you. I do hope they will improve and make a bowl game, as like I said, they can play against anyone. Anybody. They could go up against FAU, FIU, Bowling Green, Ball State, Northern Illinois. Like they could choose anybody. The only 2 teams they have to face are Air Force and Navy because of the Commander-in-Chief's trophy, but against the military branches. All the the 3 military branches in FBS. I think Coast Guard and the Marines do their own trophy battle in like Division 3, I want to say. If anything, they need to at least win that trophy for pride, because that's basically what the Commander-in-Chief's trophy is. Who is the best football team between the 3 military branches? Like Navy, Army, and Air Force, they could all suck throughout the entire season. But all they need to do is just win that trophy, and they at least win pride over the other two military branches for the next year. Which, trust me, if I know anything about the military from being in the Air Force myself, well, the military builds itself off of pride. But, anyways, that'll be it for this week. As you can see, I found a lot of stuff to ramble about to make this about as long as the other ones normally. As next week we will be, well, next time we will be heading off to the MAC. We'll start off in the East and then go to the West, which the East looks kind of interesting. I see like a couple of potential risers to challenge Bowling Green to be in the top of the East. Ohio suffered a great fall from last year, but we will talk about all that later. And until then, I will see you all next time.